person who killed Senzo Meyiwa is not here amongst these five.
Umuntu owabulala uSenzo Meyiwa akekho kulaba abahlanu abala.
According, my lord, to the state evidence, my lord, the people who killed Senzo Meyiwa, they are in this court.
Ngokubufakazi-ke obukhona-ke kulona icala lombuso abantu ababulala uSenzo Meyiwa bakhona kule nkantolo.
Let me put this to you, ma'am. I'll refer to the evidence that was said prior to trial, within a trial. There were witnesses that said there were 3 shots that were fired. Do you know about that? Or do you have anything to say about that? There were 3 shots that were fired.
But legal aid then says, no, Mr. Mnisi, if you want to proceed with the 174 application, we don't buy you, we don't stop you from proceeding, but know that in terms of us financing it, we'll have some reservations, which is then the communication between legal aid and us then stopped there up until today.
Hey Tada, we are back with another video. The page, it is called South African Lead News. I briefly played an audio of Advocate Mngomezulu when we are still alive in this case. He told us that the shooter of Senzo Meyiwa is not in court. And thereafter I played a clip of Advocate Mnisi on Thursday where the court sitting was very short. Remember that before Thursday, the defense counsel had indicated that they're going to bring a Section 174 discharge for the accused because the state has failed to provide sufficient evidence to find them guilty. However, when we came back to court on Thursday, Advocate Mnisi told the court that legal aid had refused to pay him while he was preparing for the Section 174 discharge. He told the court that legal aid said they can only pay him if there is a court sitting on the day, meaning that Mnisi is expected to work for Mahala for 4 weeks when he's preparing for this application. That is totally unfair. For Mnisi, he needs to be paid because he's a lawyer, he's paid per hour. So nothing should change because if Mnisi was not working in this case, he could be making money somewhere else. So the legal aid, I think they did something that is unjust and unfair to the accused. However, the case shall continue. Mnisi further stated that accused number 1 and 3 were told by legal aid that they have no chance of success in the Section 174 discharge, meaning that legal aid has already concluded that the men before court are guilty of shooting Senzo Meyiwa. So how did legal aid arrive at that decision? Because they are not a judge, they are just a funder in this case. So it is really sad. So for me, it shows that in this country, if you are poor, you will never get justice. You will suffer like the five men accused in this case. Justice in this country, it is only for the rich. That is a fact. Because now, Ntanzi, Sibiya, Gadla, and Tuli cannot find their own case, so now they have to proceed. However, that's not a transmatch because anyway they are innocent. They just prove that once they present their case. So on Thursday, after Mnisi had stated that the case was then again postponed. However, before it was postponed, Advocate Nxumalo told the court that he will proceed with Section 174 discharge anyway. So he said he needed to finalize his submission so that he can present them. Then he stated that on the 15th of August this year, he's going to file his argument. And then on the 25th of August, there will be oral argument in court, meaning that the court session will be back on the 25th of August, whereby Mr. Nxumalo and Baloyi will then argue in and against the Section 174 discharge for Mr. Mapisa. And I'm glad that Mapisa continued with this section because really there's no evidence against him. The state brought witness after witness for the past 3 years. However, they have failed to link Maphisa. Remember that the state cases that Gadla Mncube and Bongani entered the house and demanded money and cell phones. And then we were told that Musibiya and Maphisa were a lookout guards standing outside. Then we were told that accused number 5 was the getaway driver. However, there is no scientific or eyewitness that links Maphisa to this crime. Then Maphisa also never made any confession. So Maphisa was really not supposed to be charged because there is no tangible evidence against him. The only person that may link Maphisa is that Constable Zungu. Remember that Zungu told the court that all 5 men were at Gwabini's house on the day that Senzo was shot. He said they arrived at about 3 p.m. on the day, and then at about 5 or 4 p.m. they left the hostel. Then they returned after 9 p.m. carrying guns, and they brought alcohol. Thereafter, they celebrated the death of Senzo Meyiwa, even before it was announced in the media. So he's implying that they already knew that Senzo had died before it was announced in the news, meaning that they were involved, because there was no other way of knowing if they were not involved. However, you must remember that Constable Zungu has been discredited by his own father. Absalom Zungu told the Sunday World that his son told him he testified in the Senzo Meyiwa case simply because he was promised a promotion at work. So uZungu Jr. wathula ubufakazi because wayelindele something in return. Wayefuna yini ukukhushula emsebenzini. That is the evidence of Absalom Zungu that he provided to the Sowetan Sunday World. So Ubabu Zungu will have a chance to bring that evidence before court so that it becomes part of the record. So uZungu has been discredited by his own father. And then Baloyi, he failed to bring Gwabini to court because Gwabini is the only person that can confirm or deny the story of Constable Zungu, because that allegedly happened in his house at the hostel. So why did Baloyi fail to bring Gwabini to testify for the state? Clearly Baloyi is scared that Gwabini might contradict Constable Zungu. That's the only conclusion I can come up to. Because Gwabini would have been a very good witness since all this allegedly happened in his house. Gwabini would be asked and Gwabini would respond and say, my lord, I agree. These 5 men were in my house at the hostel on that day. Or Gwabini would simply say, no, my lord, Constable Zungu is lying. The five men before court were never at my house on the 26th of October 2014. Simple and straightforward. But Baloyi akamlethanga uGwabini to confirm the story of Constable Zungu. Secondly, yakhumbula ukuthi lona the AVL record of Constable Zungu was not brought before court. Instead, Baloyi told us that their car was not fitted with an AVL. Amanga wodwa lawo. On the day Senzo was shot, it is alleged, or it's not alleged, it is evidence before court that Constable Zungu was driving imoto yama SAPS, and we all know that SAPS cars are fitted with AVL. That AVL was deliberately hidden because it did not support the state narrative. That AVL report would have shown that Gwabini was never at the hostel on the day that Senzo passed away. So it is convenient for Baloyi to just say, no, as he told AVL Constable Zungu, but we all know that if it's legal because I support theory ka Baloyi. So ke yabona nje uGwabini ne-AVL yiba abantu bebesitshela iqiniso ukuthi kwenzakalani ngalelo suku. So uBaloyi failed to bring Gwabini and he failed to bring the AVL record. So ke uConstable Zungu asimthembi because nothing backs up his evidence before court. That is a fact. So on the 15th of August 2025, Advocate Nxumalo will file his heads of arguments, and then on the 25th of August, the court will be back in session for oral argument, meaning that Baloyi will stand up and present his case, and Nxumalo sukuma na akhulume in defense of Maphisa, why he should get this Section 174 discharge. But in my own humble opinion, I think Maphisa will get this because there is no evidence that links him to the Meyiwa case. You remember that the fake confessions that were made by Ntanzi and Sibiya cannot be used against Mapisa, because confessions are only used against umuntu that confessed. So the confessions are not applicable to Mapisa. So Ulona Utata Mokhatleng should rule in favor of Mapisa, because I can't to this case. Then, if Rata does not rule in favor of Mapisa, that will be a confirmation that Judge Rata is a biased judge. I've said it all along that he's a biased judge, but now he has a chance to prove me wrong. If he says Section 174 discharge is successful for Mapisa, I will stand up and say, I apologize for calling you biased. However, I doubt Urata will do the right thing. Then after the ruling, the case will resume for the defense, whether Mapisa is successful or not. Defense will then have to open its case. Then the defense must call their first witness, and that should be Warrant Officer Makubo. Makubo should be the first witness because he's the one that opened docket 375. Makubo will tell the court how was the investigation conducted, and then fully explain why not just Buthelezi, why they opened docket 375. Makubo will also expose the conduct of Brigadier Gininda so that his credibility is tarnished. Remember that Makubo is the one that opened the case against Gininda for defeating the ends of justice. Remember that it was alleged that Gininda stole the statement of Mlungisi Hlophe from the docket. That allegation was made by Usfiso Meyiwa on TV, as well as Advocate and others. So Makubo then opened the case against Gininda. However, that case did not go anywhere because we know Gininda is very powerful and the NPA was scared to charge him or challenge him. So Makubo will have the chance to put that on record so that it is evidence before court. Then Makubo will specifically state that the shooter of Senzo Meyiwa is not in court, but the shooter of Senzo Meyiwa is one of those people that were in the house. And then he will refer the court to a statement, Sika Mlungisi Hlophe. That statement alleges that Utumelo Madlala phoned Mlungisi Hlophe and told him that Longotwala shot Senzo Meyiwa by mistake when Usenzo was trying to separate the fight between Uzandi and Longotwala. That's where the allegation made by Utumelo Madlala immediately after the shooting. That was before Utumelo Madlala was poisoned by the people in the house who started Ambamanga. So we know for the fact that there is that statement, and Makubo is well aware of the statement. So we put that statement on record, and that statement should bring doubt in Judge Rata's mind. Ukuthi labantu abasekhoti are actually not the people that shot Senzo Meyiwa. That would bring doubt, reasonable doubt. The defense only needs to create doubt. The defense does not have to prove anything. It is the duty of the state to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. So if there's some doubt, then you must acquit. You must remember in the case of Amatoso, about 2 months ago, a judge ruled that Amatoso is not guilty. However, the judge said, I do not believe, Amatoso, you are telling the truth. However, the state failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, so I'm finding you not guilty. So the same thing should apply in this case. Even if the accused are lying in this case, the state has a duty to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. But as things stands, there is doubt in this case. One, we were told that the gun that shot Senzo Meyiwa was a revolver because the eyewitnesses that were in the house said the gun had a will. But Mangena says it was a 9mm. So the state witnesses, they differ. They contradict each other. So that should work in the defense favor because that creates doubt because the state doesn't know which gun was used to shoot Senzo Meyiwa. So that is very important. And thereafter, Makubo will also mention Uguti, how was Shadrack Sibiya linked to this case? How was he involved? We all know that Advocate therefore is alleged that Sibiya was allegedly bribed by Chicco Twala. He alleged that Chicco Twala gave Sibiya 1 million rand. That is an allegation which was denied by both Sibiya and Chicco Twala. However, Shadrack Sibiya noted that, or he admitted that he did have a meeting with Chicco Twala, but he did not specify what he meeting yayingani. So why would Chicco Twala meet with Sibiya? Sibiya and Chicco Twala were not friends, they were not colleagues, they were not associates. So they had no reason to meet. So that meeting, clearly there was something fishy that went on in that meeting. So Umakubo will also put that on record so that we know how the police cooked this case. A policeman should not have met with the father of a suspect. Chicco Twala had no business to meet with Ulo Sibiya. So clearly something that is wrong went on that meeting. So the fact that they deny Uguti there was a bribe, I'm not convinced. That's all I should say. So Makubo would put that on record. And thereafter, the defense should call their next witness. Their next witness could be Mr. Zungu, not Constable Zungu, Mr. Absalom Zungu. Absalom Zungu told the Southern Sunday World that Kininda, that is an allegation. So Kininda, it is alleged that Absalom Zungu was approached by Kininda. Uguti, you must come to court and testify and then implicate accused number 1 and 2. So Kininda tried allegedly to fabricate evidence against Untanzi and Sibiya by trying to use Ubaba Absalom Zungu. However, Absalom Zungu refused because he's a man of honor and he's a man of high integrity. So Babu Zungu will tell the court, and then Kininda will be exposed. Uguti, how does he conduct himself? How does he collect evidence? How does he fabricate evidence? That is very important. So Babu Zungu abekhona. So then, after Absalom Zungu, then they can also call Ulongotwala, because Ulongotwala has been mentioned in this case so many times. So he'll get a chance to clear his name and tell us what actually went on that day Senzomela was shot. The first question that could be posed to Ulongotwala is, did you shoot Senzomela by mistake? That is a very simple question. Then Ulongotwala will be able to explain and state his case. And thereafter, Ulongotwala must also explain ukuthi ngesikhathi kungena ama-intruders. It is alleged that Ulongotwala ran out, but the intruders did not shoot him or run after him. How is that possible? How is it possible? Was Ulongotwala working with those guys? That is the question that will be posed to Ulongotwala, and he'll get a chance to answer and give an explanation, because now there's a dark cloud that is hanging over Ulongotwala in this case ever since Senzo was shot. Remember that Ulongotwala once went to Metro FM. I think they went with Zandi. They were still lovers back then. On Metro FM, he said he ran out, but he could not make a phone call because he left his cell phone in the house. However, later on, it emerged that he had his cell phone with him. So there's some contradiction in the long statement and what he said on Metro FM. So Ulongotwala will get a chance to speak for himself and clear his name. And thereafter, he could be asked if he was ever shot by mistake. Because we remember that Advocate Mngomezulu said that Ulongotwala shot himself by mistake in his ankle. And then he went to the hospital. Then he can confirm or deny that, and then maybe show the court his ankle so that it can be checked if there are any scars that were left by that bullet. Then the court would have no doubt what really happened to him. But that is important as in Kantolo. And thereafter, they can call Kelly Khumalo. Then she'll be asked, Kelly Khumalo, are you the mastermind? Did you phone accused number 5 and arrange the shooting of Senzomela? then Kelly Khumalo will definitely deny that because that is the imagination of Ginindo. That should work in the defense favor because it will create doubt ukuthi hayibo lo muntu uyaphika ukuthi wawafuela nalabantu. Thereafter Kelly Khumalo should be quizzed about her telephone numbers because we were told by Ginindo ukuthi Kelly Khumalo had more than 5 cell phone numbers. Then Kelly Khumalo must explain why he did not provide that information to Ginindo because Ginindo uthi yena Kelly Khumalo waqamba amanga kuyena wabanikeza. I think Ginindo said Kelly Khumalo gave them about 3 numbers whereas she had more than 5. Then Kelly Khumalo will explain if those numbers were active. Remember that you can have a cell phone number but it may not be active. For me, I've got three cell phone numbers, but I only use 2, but 3 are under my name. So if the police ask me for my number, it could happen that I could forget the 3rd one because I do not use it. It is just there because I got it sometime back, but then did not use it because the telecom network is very poor, so I stopped using it. But it is still under my name. So that could be the case with Kelly Khumalo. Maybe she forgot about those numbers. So if he's called before court, then she can clarify those issues. And thereafter, Mapiri must be called and explain who told her to clean the crime scene. Because the person that asked Mapiri to clean the crime scene is likely the person that shot and unalived Mr. Senzo Meyiwa. Mapiri is an old woman, so I'm sure that she will crack under pressure. When the minister is asking the difficult question, she will crack and tell us the truth. So if Mapiri refused to come to court, she must be subpoenaed and be threatened with arrest. The same for Longo and Kelly Khumalo. They should be subpoenaed if they refuse to come voluntarily. It is very easy for the defense because now all the state witnesses, they become their witnesses after Baloyi has closed his case. The defense is at liberty to call any witness now. The defense can subpoena you and force you to come and testify. But for me, Makubo is the most important witness that the defense will have to call because he will clarify the issue that is contained in the docket 375. You remember that on the night that Senzo Meyiwa was shot, there was a meeting that was held at the Khumalo house. Shadrack Sibiya and the former Gauteng MC for safety and security were among those people that were in the house. It is alleged that in that meeting, the theory of an intruder was approved. Then the people in the house were told to continue to lie and say that that they demanded cell phone and money. And so that was done in order to protect the son of Chicco Chwala. That is an allegation that is before court already because Mngomezulu has already told us that Ulongo Chwala is the actual shooter. However, the statement of Mlungu Hlophe also tells us that Ulongo Chwala is the shooter. So there is very, very good evidence that can be used by defense to debunk all the lies that were brought by Baloyi and Ginindo and the rest of the police like Mosia and so on. Remember that Mosia or the police, they found that bullet jacket on the following day in the crime scene. The police that came on the crime scene on the day when Senzo was shot, they found no bullet. How is that possible that the following day they find the bullet or the bullet jacket or the cartridge? Clearly it was planted in the crime scene so that it diverts the attention from the people in the house. That bullet jacket was meant to implicate someone else, not the real shooter. So we're not dumb, all of us. We can see what's going on here. We can see that the state is fabricated evidence. But most importantly, Makubo will explain what he in docket 375 so that the court can hear. Then the reasonable doubt will be created. Then Ratha will be forced to acquit these 5 men before court. However, thank you for watching.